Let's get immediate reaction, though, with senior Labor frontbencher Kristina Keneally. Policy on the run is what the government says. Is that dangerous when you're talking about issues like wages and inflation?
What a desperate government the Morrison government has become, and what a desperate attack from a Prime Minister who's presided over a near decade, either as Treasurer or Prime Minister, of low wages growth. Now, Kieran, it's not unremarkable. We have been saying for some time, in this cost of living crisis where everything is going up except people's wages, that we think wages should keep pace with the cost of living. It's not an unremarkable position. And if the Prime Minister and the Liberals think that people shouldn't get pay rises that keep pace with the rate of the cost of living, well, then maybe they should explain that to Australians. Are they seriously arguing that the lowest paid workers should get poorer in this country? That's what they told us before. Low wages are a deliberate design feature of this tired 9-year-old Liberal government. It's time for a better future. People want hope. They want hope their wages are going to get moving again. And the plan and the policies that Labor are putting forward are designed to cut the cost of living, increase productivity, and get wages moving again.
Should wages, well, you mentioned productivity there. Isn't it more appropriate to link wages to productivity as opposed to linking it to inflation?
Kieran, we are in the middle of a full-blown cost of living crisis. Now, the decision on the minimum wage will be made by the Fair Work Commission. And what we have seen today is Anthony stating a long-held principle from the Australian Labor Party, and that is that the wages should be able to keep pace with the cost of living, that people should be able to pay their bills. Right now, we've got 500,000 Australians who are working 2 or 3 jobs just to try to make ends meet. Work is becoming less secure. And we know that people have not had a real wage rise in some time because this Liberal government has decided to have an economic policy that's got low wages as a deliberate design feature. Now, let me tell you the things that we would do to get wages moving again. Institute the same job, same pay rule. We would back the aged care wage case that is currently before the Commission. We would take clear steps to close the gap on the gender pay gap. And Kieran, we would make it easier for gig workers to get secure work. You know, these
the Finance Minister was asking you as well.
On top of all of that, let me say one more thing.
The Finance Minister was asking, what advice is it based on? Have you got economic advice along these lines to say it's reasonable to lift wages or the minimum wage by 5.1%?
Kieran, first of all, that is a misstatement of what was said today. What Anthony made clear is that people's wages should keep pace so that they can pay for the rising cost of living. But let me make clear one more point. This is a government that refused to criminalise wage theft, and an Albanese Labor government will do that as well. But you talk about the rising cost of living, and you talk about the need for wages to rise. This is core bread and butter of Labor's policy offerings. So there are things that we're going to do to get wages moving again. The determination will be made by the Fair Work Commission as to what the minimum wage should rise by. And on top of that, an Albanese Labor government has plans for cheaper childcare. Not only does that ease the cost of living for working families, it also increases productivity. For cheaper electricity, not just for households, though saving them $275 a year, but also increasing productivity for businesses. As the Treasury Secretary has said, Kieran, that if you can have wage rises, and you can have wage rises that don't increase inflationary pressure if you do invest in productivity. And that's exactly what our policies are designed to do.
When you make a recommendation through the Fair Work Commission or a submission, is it based on what you hope workers will get, or is it based on hard economic advice? What is it?
Well, Kieran, governments do make submissions to the Fair Work Commission, and so they should. And governments need to make that based on the economic evidence. But what we're saying very clearly is that our focus is on introducing an economic plan that delivers a better future, that improves productivity, that policies that cut the cost of living and get wages moving again. The Fair Work Commission will make its decision on the minimum wage. But what a government needs to do, a government needs to have a laser-like focus on those policies that are going to increase productivity, that are going to cut the cost of living, particularly during this crisis that has developed on Scott Morrison's watch, and that get wages moving again. What we've got now is a tired 9-year-old Liberal government that does not have a plan for the future, Karen. I hope you're putting these kind of questions to the Liberals who parade in front of you here on Sky News. What are they going to do? I'm telling you what, this tired 9-year-old government ain't going to get any better if they get another 3 years in office. They haven't fixed
the Prime Minister
low wage problem for the last decade. There is no hope they're going to do it in the next 3 years.